Welcome to Purposive Communication. This lesson is prepared and created by Ms. Raymond Zaira M. Fernandez, a faculty of the Department of Languages and Literature, College of Arts and Sciences, Central Mindanao University. We will now continue with Unit 1. Are you ready? In this unit, we will still talk about communication processes, principles, models, and ethics. Our last topic was all about the meanings and differences of language and communication. For this lesson, we will learn about the following concepts. Definition of purposive communication. Principles of communication. And relevance of communication. These are very interesting topics, right? But first, let us know the objectives first. Our objectives for this lesson are the following. At the end of the lesson, the learners must have performed the following with 85% accuracy. Define the meaning of purposive communication. Named and interpreted the principles of communication. Applied the relevance of communication. Are you ready? Let us now begin. Now, what is purposive communication? Purposive communication is simply the type of communication by which different forms of communication serve various objectives depending on the intention and goals, which means that there are distinct verbal and written communication styles that can be strategically utilized to achieve specific communication intentions. These styles are recently supplemented with technologically driven resources. Purposes of communication evident in business, for instance, aims to persuade customers to buy available products. In this video, you will see a seller discussing its product to the consumer. It is evident that we use communication every day and anywhere we go. Can you think of a situation using communication in different aspects of life? Communication flows in all directions through strategic techniques. These systems make communication pathways accessible through virtual and real-time interaction. Depending on your fields of discipline or specialization, communication forms and process may range from simple and direct to complicated ones. This phenomenon happens because distinct communication purposes require equally appropriate communication forms and processes. Personal, face-to-face, and real-time communication approaches can be utilized to understand other people's ideas and opinions effectively and at the same time, to be understood. It is important to note that these approaches allow communication participants to hear, see, observe, and feel the nuances by which ideas are expressed and processed. Just observe the pictures shown. What can you say about it? Formal and written communication strategies are relevant in business, education, legal and government communication transactions by which documentation is essential. The purpose of communication defines the form and process by which it is being carried out. Now let us proceed to the principles of communication. We have 7 principles of communication to be discussed in this video. Are you ready? Let's go. The first one is principle of clarity. The idea or message to be communicated should be clearly spelt out. It should be worded in such a way that the receiver understands the same thing which the sender wants to convey. There should be no ambiguity in the message. It should be kept in mind that the words do not speak themselves but the speaker gives them the meaning. A clear message will evoke the same response from the other party. It is also essential that the receiver is conversant with the language, inherent assumptions, and the mechanics of communication. Principle of attention. In order to make communication effective, the receiver's attention should be drawn towards message. People are different in behavior, attention, emotions, etc., so they may respond differently to the message. For example, if a superior is very punctual in coming to the office, then subordinates will also develop such habits. It is said that actions speak louder than words. The third principle is the principle of feedback. The principle of feedback is very important to make the communication effective. There should be a feedback information from the recipient to know whether he has understood the message in the same sense in which the sender has meant it. Number 4 is principle of informality. Formal communication is generally used for transmitting messages and other information. Sometimes formal communication may not achieve the desired results. Informal communication may prove effective in such situations. So this principle states that informal communication is as important as formal communication. Number 5 is about principle of consistency. This principle states that communication should always be consistent with the policies, plans, programs and objectives of the organization and not in conflict with them. If the messages and communications are in conflict with the policies and programs, then there will be confusion in the minds of subordinates and they may not implement them properly. Number 6 is principle of timeliness. This principle states that communication should be done at proper time so that it helps in implementing plans. Any delay in communication may not serve any purpose, rather decisions become of historical importance only. How about you? Do you consider time when communicating to someone? The last one is the principle of adequacy. The information communicated should be adequate and complete in all respects. Inadequate information may delay action and create confusion. Inadequate information also affects efficiency of the receiver. So adequate information is essential for taking proper decisions and making action plans. We all know that communication is very important to us. In what ways do communication help achieve the needs related to survival in our daily challenges? How do you use communication to survive every day? In the real classroom setting, what are some scenarios you can think of that uses communication? Communication meets academic, professional, personal, civic, identity, and relational needs. We cannot deny the fact that communication is always used everywhere and anywhere we go. Through verbal and non-verbal communication, people can readily express their needs. Excellent communication skills, which often result in common understanding and peaceful conflict settlement, will also contribute to a lasting and productive relationship between friends, family members, colleagues, and among organizations and communities. Today, we have discussed about the following concepts: definition of purposive communication, principles of communication, and relevance of communication. That is the end of our lesson 2. Thank you for watching the lesson.